Hi guys, welcome to another movie crew review. Today we'll be reviewing The Amateur.
So, starring Rami Malek and Laurence Fishburn, we find CIA analyst Charlie Haller as his wife is captured by terrorists and killed. He goes on a revenge mission to actually find these 4 terrorists and take them out one by one. So today I'm going to start the review off, and I found this to be an interesting premise, but the film overall was a bit slow. I think the casting of Rami Malek as the tech analyst was quite good in terms of giving me the everyman kind of nerd vibe, for lack of a better term. I did find that the runtime, 2 hours, 7 minutes, it starts to get a bit long in the tooth, and the main murders, probably the best ones, are all in the trailer, so don't go in there thinking it's going to go up from there. Pretty much what you've seen on the trailers is the most action-packed it's going to get. So I think that was a little disappointing for me coming into it. Comparing it to the 1981 film, which is both based off the novel, I think it's good that we see a little bit with the wife, Rachel Bronson's character, as opposed to that film where we start off with like 20 minutes of that film is the whole terrorist, and you actually see her get killed, whereas this, you never really see it happen, you just get really close. Other points on that, I think that it's done really well, the whole Laurence Fishburne training sequence, and I think that character for me, the Hendo character, was quite funny, bit of comedy in the aspects, but he was the real tough macho guy in the film. The line I really like from him is at the start when he says, "My friends call me Hendo and everybody else calls me Colonel Hendricks, so you can call me Colonel Hendricks." That was something clever, funny, and it kind of gets you in the mood of what this guy is. The Rami Malek character, it's not kind of like a Jack Ryan where he's on the computer and then all of a sudden he becomes action badass. It's pretty much, he's a nerd and he stays a nerd. All the killings you see him happen, they're pretty much far away. He's not like point blank shooting them like with a sniper rifle or anything like that. So that's something that if you think he's going to turn into an action star, he never does. He pretty much stays the same character throughout. He just gets into this revenge kind of epic, and that's where it leads. But yeah, the runtime for me was the big issue and the lack of action therefore. Some things came out of nowhere, like he blows up a nightclub bar little place with Laurence Fishburne in it, and those things I quite enjoyed. But yeah, overall I think it lacked a bit of action, and probably should have cut half an hour out of it. Cameron?
Yeah, The Amateur, for me, Rami Malek really stole the show for me. It was a perfect acting performance for that character. I think just the beginning when he loses the wife, he just sold that so well for me. Like, we didn't know the wife very well, but he made me feel like I should care because he was just so depressed, so down, and just the way they reveal all that was probably the best pacing of the movie, the first 10 minutes. And then, yeah, like John said, the remaining of the movie seemed to sort of had little sparks here and there, but then the flow was just a bit stagnated throughout the movie, which didn't really help for me, because, yeah, it was pretty slow paced at times. But yeah, I did like the aspect of him staying the nerd and not really becoming this overpowered. After meeting Laurence Fishburne, most people who meet him turn out to be this superhero and can kill anyone, but they depicted him, he can't shoot, so he's not going to shoot. He's going to try and find other ways to kill people, which I found very interesting. And yeah, I mean, the 3 murders in the movie that he leads towards death, were pretty well done. Like John said, the one in the trailer is probably the biggest in terms of wow factor. But the other ones are more like sort of, he really thought about it. And I like that sort of process where he's studying the person he's trying to murder and he's finding their weakness and is leading into that. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I did enjoy it. But yeah, the pacing for me was its biggest flaw, I think.
Yeah, it really lets it down. Yeah. I reckon if it was more closer to a 90-minute film, that it would have taken out a lot of the stuff that we didn't need. Even the side story with the SAC chief and the head of the CIA,
Yeah.
the director. It got a bit long in the tooth. Like, I might need it once. I don't need it like 3 or 4 times throughout the movie. I don't need to keep coming back to it. I was more interested in the start when he's at the training camp and there's the scene where they start raiding his house, raiding the office, looking through all the stuff.
Yeah.
And you're seeing that he's that smart that he was able to get this information out. And they're like, oh, maybe it's through the printer. It's this and that. And it's like a wild goose chase, really for nothing. But
Yeah.
at the end, he's just like one step ahead. So I think it's good in that aspect. But then there's some things where he's such a smart guy, but then he's looking up as he gets to somebody's apartment how to lockpick.
Yeah.
And listening to it like full blast next to him. Like he's so smart that he can sneak files out of the CIA, but not smart enough that he was on a plane for like all those hours and didn't think maybe I'll watch this video and try and work it out. Like, or use headphones.
I know, he's just watching a YouTube video. And even on that YouTube video, make sure to like and subscribe. But yeah, it was just, yeah, that was the only real smart, out of all the things that he done, that was the dumbest smart thing he did. You
Yeah.
still have to be smart to lockpick. But
Yeah.
out of everything, that was the one that sticks in your brain. Because everything else was akin to the character.
Yeah.
That just fell a bit short for us, definitely.
Yeah. Like when he bought the flowers and he buys the flowers from the original co-star from the 1981 film.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, so a little nod there. When he buys the flowers, I didn't know why he was buying the flowers.
Yeah.
And then when I saw him use it in the way that he uses it, I'm like, that's genius. I
Yeah.
would have never thought about it like that. Or when he's decompressing the glass, the big scene of this film is that underwater glass explosion and all the glass is just falling like 17 stories.
Yeah.
That's like I'd say that's the big piece of this film.
Yeah.
And like at first when I saw the film, I thought it was like a bomb or something. I didn't realize he'd actually gone, researched it and decompressed the layers. So yeah, they're like real clever things, but then he does it and he's let down by his like Laurence Fishburn coming and trying to get over
Sort of the chase, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. I did like the CIA sort of, how they have the 2 agents that have manipulated the system and then you got the chief.
Yeah.
Because I really like that actor who's from the Iron Claw, the father. I think he's the perfect sort of this big demeanor, villain-esque character. I really loved him in Iron Claw and I really loved him in this movie. I always want a bit more of him, but I think it was more than enough in this movie because of the pacing. But
Yeah.
I think all the acting in this movie was well done. Yeah, I think, yeah, definitely the pace.
Yeah, and how they underestimate him. That's
Yeah.
the key thing for this.
Correct.
At every turn they underestimate him, and at every turn he really proves them wrong. And so that's a good takeaway. But yeah, even the ending fell a bit flat for me, to be honest. I wasn't overly happy with how it ended. It's kind of that perfect Hollywood ending.
Yeah.
No
I
one
just-
walks away unscathed.
Yeah, it's very forgettable, the ending. Always going to remember the start and the middle of this movie. I think the ending is just a bit
Yeah.
of a throwaway, really.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a sort of climactic ending. It just sort of fizzles out and you're just like, yeah, everyone could see this coming sort of thing.
Yeah, you could see, cause you see, unlike the other ones where you don't really see him planning that much, you kind of see him planning the whole thing for this. So you kind of get, we need to go to this place. He's getting all the equipment to make the thing happen. He's even planned it. So he's got the guys. He knows how he's going to roughly get to where he needs to be.
Yeah.
So it's more just like following the motions.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that, like, for me, it was a bit disappointing.
Yeah,
I would have preferred it to go a different way, but there's not much you can do in that respect.
Because, yeah, you expect the final one to be sort of this big climactic finale sort of thing, like his biggest, it's the hardest, this one he's trying to chase the hardest, and it sort of gets there, not the easiest, but it just feels very mundane compared to the other ones.
Yeah, like we have the Simtex explosion, and then that's about it. The pacing really dies off, really slows down, and yeah, it just didn't hit for me.
Yeah. All right, going to give our scores.
Yeah,
How many computers out of 10, John?
I'll probably give it 6.5 computers out of 10.
Yeah, I'll give this 7 computers out of 10. Alright guys, make sure to like, subscribe, check out our socials, and we'll catch you on the next one. Ciao.